Thank you for having us. We're real pleased to be back and be able to present some of the work that we've done in the last couple of years. So we're the Arctic Eider Society, which is the duck that got everything going and inspired us. It's the clothing and food for Inuit in Sanikiluaq and the inspiration for our film People of a Feather, which catalyzed our charity. But we haven't really studied ducks in a while, but the feather is the warmest feather in the world. It's nature's technology, it's Northerners' technology, and so it's kind of still our symbol for high tech in the North. You know, even though we're using cutting edge apps and things, we still have to keep it warm inside of our Eider down up north. So we're a charity. The programs that we have kind of three main programs: research using Inuit knowledge and skills about environmental change, cumulative impacts. We're engaging youth in that through training programs, partnering them up with hunters. And we've been working to deliver a bunch of the resources, multimedia and research to create culturally relevant curriculum for Northern schools so that to kind of complete the cycle of inspiring youth to be the next generation of researchers. The larger level, we're working on environmental stewardship issues to try and bring together all the different stakeholders, communities, and governments for the Hudson Bay region. So what we want to talk about today is our new platform that's really inspired by folks from the North. This is Peter Kownak, who's an elder in the community of Sanikiluaq. And for a few years now, he's been seeing seals, the diet of seals change. He goes out to the flow edge pretty much every single day in the wintertime to get seals to bring back food for his community. And he really likes to eat the codfish in the stomach of the seals. And it's been shifting to shrimp. And so that's been a big change that he's noticed. And so he's told this to scientists, and people say that's really interesting, but the general response to this sort of indigenous knowledge is that that's anecdotal information, and we need some data to really be able to prove that. And so the idea is now is through our mobile app that we have for the SIKU platform, he can go out, he can just press the wildlife button, choose that he's seen the wildlife observation, pick the seal, take a photo, tag the photo with the wildlife species that's in the stomach, and then now he has the raw data that's always been behind his observations. And so we can kind of mobilize that Inuit knowledge, get it on the map, and use that for environmental stewardship, decision-making, and link it with some of the science. So this is, SIKU is the Inuktitut word for sea ice, and this is the name of our new platform. We've been working on a mapping platform before and trying to bring together different groups that are doing mapping projects. And what we really realized was that there wasn't going to be any one mapping platform, but the approach that we needed to take was to create a social media network for the North. And so the idea of SIKU is that it brings together a whole bunch of different social tools, it's an Inuit knowledge wiki and social mapping platform. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. Basically, we have profiles for people, for communities, for organizations, for networks. We have research tools for wildlife ecology, for oceanographic work and ice monitoring. We're using a lot of the resources of the platform to teach culturally relevant curriculum so that students can learn based on information hunters are collecting in their community. We have wikis, so like wildlife and ice types can be tagged in photos and linked, and people can contribute to these, as well as traditional place names over time. And I'll show you some of the weather and ice kind of services that we're providing to Northerners, bringing in the Earth Engine in particular, and as well as hunting stories. People have been using Facebook a lot to tell hunting stories, but they give up their IP, and you can never find it again, and going through all the timelines. And so this way we can mobilize that knowledge. So I will show you a video to explain a little bit more.
SIKU, the Inuktitut word for sea ice, connects communities across the Arctic. SIKU, the Inuit knowledge wiki and social mapping platform. Winner of the prestigious Google.org Impact Challenge in Canada, SIKU is a web platform that uses Inuit knowledge, community-driven research, Inuktitut language, culturally relevant education, cutting-edge technology, ice safety services, and social media tools to bridge Arctic communities. So why SIKU? Because the Arctic is changing, SIKU is an open data platform used to document and mobilize traditional and scientific knowledge. Real and near real-time results of community-driven research will help communities make informed decisions and build capacity for environmental stewardship. Because stories need to be shared, SIKU is a social media network made for the North, inspired by groups like Nunavut Hunting Stories of the Day. With culturally relevant tools, stories can be told on searchable maps with tags for wildlife and sea ice conditions. Because language shapes identity, SIKU includes ice and wildlife profiles in Inuktitut dialects that are taggable and act as living wikis of Inuit knowledge. Because today's youth are tomorrow's community leaders, SIKU integrates interactive media into lesson plans for schools to facilitate knowledge transfer and inspire the next generation of environmental stewards. Because you can't always be there, SIKU includes time-lapse, underwater, drone, street view, and 360-degree video to let you experience the Arctic from a completely different perspective. Because ice safety saves lives, SIKU brings together up-to-date sea ice imagery and forecasts with tools for hunters to post about local ice conditions, integrating on-the-ground reporting with remote satellite imagery. Because you're in control, SIKU lets you retain the rights to your knowledge and determine how it is used and shared. Integrating traditional ways of knowing with a suite of modern technologies made with and for Inuit communities. SIKU, the Inuit Knowledge Wiki and social mapping platform. Brought to you by the Arctic Eider Society.
So that's not quite live yet. Our prototype is online, and that will be live probably in the coming months. And I'm going to turn it over to Kristen for a bit, who's going to talk about the role of working with Inuit youth on this project.
So for the work that I do with this project is I facilitate workshops with students at Nunavut Siviniksivut, a program that I attended, a 2-year program. And it's really to build off of that whole for Inuit, by Inuit concept. We engage with, these students are coming from Arctic communities from Nunavut to Nunatsiavut, which is in Labrador, and northern Quebec, and so on. So they're right across the Arctic in that sense, so we really get to reach out, and hopefully they can champion this project to their communities when they go home and, you know, try to relay that information. But what's really important, like the concept of self-determination in research and education from an Inuk perspective, that's important because the change in our culture is very rapid. For example, my grandmothers were a part of the generation that moved into settlements from the nomadic lifestyle. And today, a lot of youth are online. They're on social media using new technologies. And they really, they're increasingly using technology and they're online a lot more. So finding a place to put Inuit knowledge into one kind of website is kind of mobilizing their knowledge and finding new ways for the cultural change that's going on.
Awesome, we're pretty excited. And we just had a workshop last week, and the students are coming up with reactions for liking things and like in an Inuit context. Mm-hmm. We're gonna test the demo gods here, and we're gonna double test them by trying to show you both the prototype and the new platform. So this is SIKU, and one of the things, like, you know, building a social media network is about kind of like getting a critical mass of users and things as well. So networking and making this available free to a whole bunch of different projects and collaborators is key. One of the things we're really excited that just came on is by working with the Earth Engine team, we now have like every single MODIS, Sentinel-1, Sentinel-2, and Landsat image ever collected available to northern communities at low bandwidth. And so being able to see where the ice is, because you know that blue area in maps is where our landscape is in the north. Ice is the maps of the north. And so we've been kind of planting that seed with Google, and they've really helped us, you know, access, so we can just like, someone can click a button in their community and the RadarSat imagery will come up there. And so we also have the weather forecasts through a sponsorship with the Weather Network. Basically, you know, instead of having to go to 5 different websites, you can go get the daily forecast, the hourly forecast, the tides, the moon cycles, the marine forecast, all the local different tide stations, and ice condition reports and that sort of thing. And the cool thing about that is as well, is that not only is it giving the forecast, but whenever you take an observation with your phone, or whenever you tell a story, or we're doing oceanographic deployment, all that environmental data is automatically synced to everything that we collect and when it goes onto the online platform. So we'd be happy to answer any questions, and I can just browse the internet in the meantime.
Thank you very much for your good presentation. I want to ask, like, do you measure the depth of the ice in the different locations? And do you publish the data on the website?
Yeah, so here's an example of our main feed on the prototype. So you can see here's a CTD, here's a water sample, and ice core samples. And so whenever we're putting out these moorings, we're taking ice thickness measurements, snow thickness measurements, and there's a bunch of different projects across the north doing this. We're doing it in 5 communities, but the idea is, yeah, we can bring that together, and even other things like bathymetric data that people collect, if we can bring it into a common source and like help link it together, then we can use it, you know, and eventually maybe get it going into Earth Engine and processing that to do some data visualization and analysis and stuff too.
And I was wondering, I had 2 questions. One, do you have any, how did you deal with online, offline kind of management and capabilities? And second, is this platform something which can be used by other communities and other, you know, is it something which we can build? Of course, it have to be adapted to different places, but is it transfer?
Yeah. So the back end of the mobile app, which is now done, is the key part is like having it, because there's no cell service in the north anyway. So when you're out on the land, you can be taking photos and using the GPS and spatially tagging the photos with ice types and wildlife. And then when you go back to the community, you can sync it up so it, through when you're back in Wi-Fi, it automatically goes onto the online platform. And we get asked that. We've been asked that quite a bit, and I mean, for now we're really focusing on this for Inuit communities. We're also working with Cree, but you know, now that we have the features there for different types of wildlife or communities, to add like other species of wildlife that would be appropriate in a different environmental context. The back end is there. It's really just a content kind of side of things. So I think it would be pretty easy to adapt this for other purposes as well. Yep.
Go chat with these lovely folks at dinner, and maybe you can have your computer with you.